hard is it to drive an old car to work every day? Well, it isn't hard if you drive an old car like this. But it is hard if you drive an old car like this. Watch me drive this 90-year-old barn find to work as my daily commuter.
You're probably wondering, how did that whole week of driving to work go? Well, not as good as I would have hoped.
Now, you didn't think I'd just go right into driving this thing to work without telling at least a little bit of the backstory of this car. So about 2016-ish, one of our friends had a couple Model A's that his dad had passed on to him. One of them was a Roadster and the other one was a Coupe. What makes the story even more remarkable is they hadn't seen the light of day for over 45 years. But despite the odds, both cars actually ran with minimal effort. Now, the Roadster went on to be restored and made into a street rod, but the Coupe remained in its as-found condition. In fact, we only used it occasionally as a Christmas ornament. So that's where our story picks up. I got the idea that maybe you could just take a car that had sat for 45 years and start using it as a daily driver. But it isn't like I just jumped in this car like it was the average Honda Civic. I mean, it has been parked since Jimmy Carter was president. So we did a few checks, we made sure it did run properly, and that the battery was charged.
If you go around the other side, you see a little stuff in there.
I also wanted to do a little work on the cosmetics just to make it look a little more presentable. So I found this stuff online. It's called Patina Sauce, and it's really easy to apply. You just wipe on and wipe off, just like Mr. Miyagi told you.
Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand.
Looks pretty good though. I mean, looks like it's really working.
And it really revived the car. All right, let's see how day one goes. Made it about halfway. Finally on a road that actually can meet this minimum speed limit. I'm driving 35 right now, so far, so good. My trip to work includes a small chunk portion of Route 66, the original Route 66. So right now, this Model A is driving down one of the original highways for America. We literally got one turn left and we've made it to work for the first day. I have to say, pretty uneventful for a 90-year-old car. One of the things I neglected to remember when I tried to start this thing is to turn the fuel back on, because if you leave the fuel sitting on the whole time, it'll leak out of the carburetor. So let's try this again. So here we go again. Right, so let's head home. It's 105 degrees, so we'll see how this works out. She's doing well, just a little, got a little underpowered up the hills, you know, and I think I'm making the traffic behind me get a little impatient, but we're doing pretty good. I do have to say that the gear ratios in this could be a little bit closer together. It's like first gear is too low, second gear, you know, you're only in there for a second, and then third gear shifted into it's too high. There's really not a perfect ratio to drive in, but you know, it's only a 3-speed, but we're averaging about 30-35 miles an hour. Not too bad. But we did make it to the house. Day 1 in the books. Gotta say, it's 105 degrees today, and the thing ran like a top, so good job, Model A. It's day 2, and this thing started right up. I'm on my way to work again. Let's see how this goes. Halfway again, but this morning it's not running as good as it did the other day. It's definitely having some overheating issues, so I'm having to drive a little slower today. So yeah, unfortunately, she's not doing quite as good. Last hill was really tough on the old Model A. It's got developed a little mess, so we're running on like 3 cylinders for sure. So hopefully I'll make it to work and take a look at it before I go home today. So we're ready to go home, and I just wanted to show you some things. This car is like multitasking at its finest. So on the steering column you have the timing. Over here you have the idle. All the way across over here you have the mixture screw and the choke. So as you're driving this morning when I was coming, I had to actually adjust timing and mess with the mixture while I was climbing a hill. So just imagine back in the day when everybody was driving one of these, there was a lot of distracted driving going on, trying to keep your car running. It's really running poorly right now, much worse than it did this morning. I know we dropped at least 1 cylinder. You know, we're just gonna try to make it home, and I'll check the plugs when I get home. But yeah. Not 2.0, so we're still moving though, so that's good.
This episode was intended to show that you could drive a 92-year-old vehicle to work. Well, we discovered one thing. You can, but you're probably going to end up working on it. As you can see, we've got the hood off this thing, so I did hurt the motor a little bit. We're going to take a look at what we did and see if we can figure out how we can get this back on the road and finish out that week. One thing about this old motor is you can see on here, it's had a little bit of, you know, JB weldage going on, some things like that. So I kind of suspicioned that this engine had a few issues. We do know it has no compression on 2 cylinders, which is kind of a lot when you only got 4 to work on. So we're pretty certain that it has actually popped the head gasket. So we'll tear it apart and see how she looks. We put some WD-40 penetrant oil all over the bolts and let it sit for a few weeks, hoping that maybe that would help and we don't break any studs off. So keep your fingers crossed that this goes smoothly.
Let's remove the spark plugs and just lay them up here. Okay. A nice electromagnetic interference spark plug wires. Next, we remove the distributor. There's the cap. Take that out of the way. Everything's quick release. Okay. All right. distributor, there's a bolt on the side that holds it in. Just pull pretty much straight out of there. How about that? I'll lay that down over there somewhere out of the way. Okay.
Nice rod.
Let's see, the distributors, you can't turn it. It's got a bolt that holds it fixed. So your timing is done mechanically by a cable or a rod.
Head probably needed replaced.
Now, somebody let it freeze up sometime, and I've already used a breaker bar to loosen these up, so they should come off fairly easy.
Oh wow, no problem.
Yep.
Keep these from falling.
Over here to put all those nuts in. Get me a screwdriver.
Okay.
Push it out.
Really long one, maybe?
Yeah, because you got to make sure the rope gets on top of the piston. Huh? You got to make sure the piston's at bottom dead center, which I did earlier. Okay, that's it for now. We'll see if we got enough battery.
Hey! Oh, do that again. That's cool. I think that counts. Flat and not easy to grab. I didn't get a hold of it. Come on. Cooperate.
We're gonna need a bigger bar.
Anyway, don't stick your hands between this head and this firewall. They're very pinchy.
There you go. Yay. Between 3 and 4 cylinder on that narrow part, you can see the black.
Yeah. So it was.
Okay, let's look at the cylinders here. And actually, there's very little cylinder wear on it.
Let's make sure all the valves move. Yeah, I was gonna make sure they go all the way down. We are replacing this head with a head from Speedway. It's a high compression head. High compression for a flathead is like 5.5 to 1. I'll show you the difference between these two. See, it has 40 over pistons in it. They are aluminum. Hopefully we'll just jam the new head on it and go fast. Go the speed limit. We'll go the speed limit as long as it's like 45 or less. All right, after what, 20 minutes of work, we've got the head all off and we've cleaned the top head gasket surface. We're getting ready to put that new head from Speedway Motors back on it and clamp this thing down and see how she works.
That's how you set the timing on there.
Oh yeah, where you
It's got a dimple in the camshaft, a hole. And this when you stick that in there, that's top center.
Cool.
That little stud screw just doesn't do anything but screw in there. Okay. And this should point towards number 1.
All right, we have made some progress. So what have you gotten done?
Well, I got the head bolts torqued down. I got the distributor set for the timing, top dead center. Got the fuel hooked up, wires hooked up, water pump. It's ready to see if it'll start.
Looks really close. Sparkulators, lightning whirler, everything's ready to go. And it has the 4-blade fan, the super desirable 4-blade fan.
Yeah, the original was only a 2-blade, and they tend to overheat. So
We're gonna go ahead and start it. So you got a gear? What do you think?
I think it sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Sounds better than it did. Well, it's time to get this Model A back on the road. You probably noticed that the trees have no more leaves. There's a little bit of snow on the ground, and yes, it is no longer summer. We did put the Model A back together, and it's running better than ever. So we're gonna finish this up with a celebratory drive to go get something to eat. You ready to start it up and back it out?
Sure. Okay, there we go.
And away we go. The grand finale. Yeah, it actually runs quite a bit better than it did before. I guess you add a couple points of compression to one of these things and it really picks them up. I mean, I feel like we're making almost 58 horsepower an hour. So what do they make? I don't know. Probably picked up 10 horsepower just putting that head on. Oops. There you go.
Didn't do a very good shift. I forgot it's a 3-speed, not a 4-speed.
I know my drive to work wasn't a complete success, but with every challenge, there's a risk of failure. Would I drive a Model A to work as a daily commuter? No. But was it worth the time I spent working with my dad and my son to solve the problems and fix it? Absolutely. I hope you can challenge yourself to get your old car out of the garage, or at least spend some quality time under the hood building memories. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Well, I think I'll take the Model A out, go get a cup of coffee, run down the road here with it. I got my co-pilot along here. Watch out for the oncoming traffic here.